they become less of a threat, they're not as scary. But our mission out of the gate was to make them thrilling, to make them different. So, we pitched a whole bunch of ideas. The burner zombies have a little sort of homage to Dick Smith and Scanners, where you see these big veins going, and the amped up zombies that get shot with the fluid. You can see the little black veins growing. It gives you a little sort of Sam Raimi, Evil Dead vibes. We changed the lenses to, the burners have like bright blue, like their eyes are on fire, and the amped up zombies have black contact lenses. I don't even know if you noticed, but in that last scene where Daryl fights the zombies in the arena, all their teeth were filed to sharp points, so they had pointed teeth. It's something that you don't really draw a lot of attention to, but that was something that we did. So the idea that we're adding more and more layers to these zombies, and they all play a big part in the story. It's not just, oh, we need a cool zombie here. It actually has something to do with moving the story forward and involving the characters and involving a lot of that stuff. So it was really a lot of fun for us, and we had a great time. The orchestra between us and Clovis, the production designer, came up with some really great stuff, and it was just something different. And I remember we built all these puppets and we did all these cool makeups, and there's like a Hellraiser style. There's this Silence of the Lambs guy whose skin is all flayed open. Yeah. And then I shot a lot of that stuff, and then the main unit came in, and I was kind of like, this scene's gonna be like 4 seconds. And you build all this stuff, and then the scene's over really quickly. So we try really to make sure that these things land and have the impact that we want, because we got to keep the audience engaged after.
And as someone who's new to the universe, I was constantly amazed by those scenes. I mean, we would talk about them, we would plan them for months sometimes, but the day I showed up for the orchestra, the Walker Orchestra, or the day I even saw the dailies of the underwater stuff that you shot, I mean, it just blew me away every time. But that was.
Do you guys see the other 5 episodes? Yeah.
We can run all 5 right now.
Yeah. Surprise!
But the standard, just to finish that idea, the standard that Greg and I and everybody was trying to apply was make them a real threat, a real genuine threat in a new way, in a different way, and also make each of these sequences matter narratively. Don't have a token sequence. Yeah. Make every one of them advance plot and character as much as we can, so that it's never just like, oh, let's throw some walkers at the problem.
Well, and it was kind of funny because when I got there, I said, look, I'm not directing any episodes in season 1, so, I'm here to shoot second unit. Like, put me in, I'll go shoot whatever you guys need me to shoot. So they'd get to the zombie scenes, and the directors would set it up, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna leave and go shoot this, so you shoot all the zombie stuff, because you know how to do all of it. So a lot of the directors, Dan and Tim, they really trusted me to sort of jump in.
Yeah, we couldn't have gotten the show made if we. That was a special situation on this show. Greg did a lot more directing than you would imagine, considering he's not a credited director. But we couldn't have gotten it done and done it as well if you hadn't been doing that. So thank you, Greg.
Well, hold on. You just said that you didn't direct in season 1, which y'all know. But you set yourself up for this. Does that mean will you be directing in season 2?
Yes.
Hey!
I did not tease that. Actually, I direct the season premiere.
Yeah, season premiere.
Season 2.
Be there.
And there's a lot of great stuff in it.
Nice. Norman, I sort of mentioned earlier that I saw some different shades to this character I felt like I'd never seen before. What is it like? Because it's a very unique experience when you're playing the same character for this long, but now in a completely new world, different show, and with a new cast. So talk a little bit about that and sort of stretching some different muscles and then working with this new cast over in France.
Yeah, David and I wanted to do different things. There was, the very first episode, I meet Cadron, who's played by Romain, I love that guy. Like, I just love him as a person. He's so fun to work with. Huge fan of the show already. But, that opening scene, it was, or that opening episode, he finds me, and we get this big epic fight, like this fist fight, and right off the bat, I won the fight, and David and I spoke about it, and I was like, you know what, let me lose the fight, let him just beat the shit out of me. And Romain's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, just beat the shit out of me, we'll cut out this punch, cut out that punch, and just throw me around. But it makes him a scarier person coming after me if I can't beat him, So.
But what I also loved about that is that it makes Daryl more human, and I loved that Norman was really into that. It was something we really talked about all the way through. It was like the moments where he doesn't have it all under control, the moments where he's really challenged, and I thought that's great because, sometimes, especially playing a role a long time, you're just like, okay, I go in and I win this, I go in and I win that, I go in and I kill these walkers, and that was never your attitude, and that was very freeing for storytelling and for advancing character.
Yeah, I don't mind that Daryl's the hero. I just don't want him to know he's the hero. You know what I'm saying? But even like with the other actors in this, they're all so good. They all have their moments to shine too. Between the first episode and the 12th episode, everybody has their great moments.
Yeah. Some of them really, we have even more in season 2 to develop them because 6 episodes is a pretty quick run. So you'll see the Cadron, Janae, and some of those other characters really continue to evolve and change and get more fully nuanced even from where they are. But the actors were amazing,
Yeah, and hats off to not just our crew, but the guys playing the zombies. They're all dancers there, so they're like, they walk all crazy, and you're like, whoa.
We're so into it, right, Greg?
They love it.
They were mad.
The trick is half of them don't speak English. So giving direction to French zombies that don't speak English. And, my French is okay, David's French is much better. But you get on set and you try to speak French and they're like, no, we understand, it's okay. And they would rather us not butcher the language and have us speak in English. But yeah, one of the things that I always take away from watching this show is it feels like the first season of The Walking Dead. When you have that small group of people, and that was where the DNA was, and that's what we wanted to really go back to. We don't have 22 characters that we have to service. We have a core group of people, and each one of them shines like a diamond. And even in this last episode, it's the little looks between Norman and Clemence, the little smiles and the little weight raising the glasses. There's such powerful, sweet moments where they're both, and we never really had a lot of opportunity to do that on the other shows. So those moments really land, and they're so powerful.
That was a lot of Dan Percival. He really set the tone, creating a very emotional, sort of romantic, not romantic like lovey-dovey, but romantic sort of ballet. Like he's just like that as a person already. Everything moves him. He finds beauty in the smallest little things, and he really set a really beautiful tone.
Yeah, Dan did 4 of those 6 episodes in this season, and we'll do 3 of next season. And he's a huge part of why the show looks the way it looks and feels the way it feels. But he's a director I met with, and the minute he walked in, I said to Brian, who works on the show too, Brian Barkrath, I said, that's the guy, because he just immediately understood what we needed to do to be consistent with the world that we're coming out of, but give it a new visual flavor, a new visual flair. He understood that, and he understood how to do that in France, and a huge part of it.
Well, it's great because there's elegance and grace and romanticism in Europe to begin with. So to be able to take some of that and inject it into the show makes a huge difference.
So Scott, you have all these Walking Dead shows happening now in different cities and different countries. So how much interconnectivity is there? Like we saw, there's connection to Walking Dead World Beyond here, right? In terms of what's happening with these experiments with these walkers. So will what's happening to Daryl over in France, is that going to impact, Negan and Maggie in New York, or Rick and Michonne? We heard Carol the other week say something or someone came back that seems to maybe reference something that's happening in the States, but how much interconnectivity are we going to see?
I mean, you know me. I'm not going to tell you, but I guess maybe some.
That is the most Gimple answer
I'm sorry.
ever. Maybe period some.
Maybe period some. Italicized some.
Okay.
Just as far as the World Beyond piece, which in some ways was like independent of World Beyond. It was sort of this just like universe tag at the end. There is this mythology of what happened early on in France, and we talked about it extensively early on. And the thing about having that mythology, having that sort of lockdown idea of what it is, as the show develops, as the show evolves, you know, David's turning dials. He's emphasizing things, he's de-emphasizing things, he's making it his own. But there is a lot that happened, and there are characters in this show that, you know, are either tangentially or directly involved in those things that happened, and you know, we're going to learn more about that too. As far as the greater universe, it is all connected, and I hope to connect it even more.
All right, well, let's say in a minute we connect with the audience here. We are going to take a few audience questions. I know there's a mic set up there. I don't know if there's